Duke and Carolina tonight, 7 o'clock for the third time this year. They will play. For the first time, they will not have Cooper Flagg. They had Malik Brown for both of the first two as well, but they do not have either tonight. Will it matter? Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Happens to be in Charlotte. I actually didn't know until I texted him. I'm like, wait a second, I thought I might have seen that. Man, you guys got a pretty good semifinal docket there with Duke Carolina Part 3 and then Clemson and Louisville on the other side, although both schools tried to make that a little bit more worrisome than maybe they needed to. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I think we have what could end up being one of the best days of college basketball we have seen in a long, long time on tap, especially this evening, man. If you go look at what's happening between 6:30 and midnight tonight, it's absolutely insane. There's 12 games that on like any given day would be the best game of the day, and we got 12 of them in one night. They're TVs.
And I guess the only difference is that in most, actually, I'm looking at the schedule because, by the way, I went to Rob Dauster on Twitter, and that's the schedule. And the only team I think that will have trouble maybe making the NCAA tournament with a loss, and I think you can make arguments that other teams are also involved, is North Carolina. This is the conversation that we're having here. Does UNC need this game tonight to make the field?
I think that they do. I think that they have to win this because there's going to be other teams that are going to find a way to improve their resume. You know, Colorado State is still alive. Boise State is still alive. There are still two teams in the Big West that have an opportunity to get into the NCAA tournament. I don't think that you want to mess around if you are North Carolina. And this is shaping up for like a best-case scenario for them, right?
Yeah.
Because Duke doesn't have Cooper Flagg, who is the best player in college basketball. They don't have Malik Brown, who was the guy that changed the game the last time that you played them. They're missing two of their big pieces up front that make them versatile and switchable and can cause problems defensively. And I think, with the way that North Carolina wants to play offensively with the ball screens and the guards that they have, being able to kind of run a little bit of offense will make it easier for them. So this is the opportunity. If you want to be in the tournament, you have to go out and win this game. You might be able to back in. You might get lucky. Maybe the selection committee sits there and says, hey, you know what? We have this massive brand in North Carolina. We have this massive brand in Indiana. And you know what would be cool? Seeing them play each other in Dayton. That's going to get a lot of eyeballs on TV. And I'm not going to lie, there's probably a good chance that ends up happening. Because if you're there's 12 people in a room, and if they're trying to decide what's best for college basketball, who are you going to put on? North Carolina or Boise State? Sorry, Boise State, I love you, but that's just the truth.
It'd be like,
but if you're North Carolina, you have a chance to win and you're in. Like, you can do this yourself. If you win, you are going to be dancing if you're North Carolina.
Be 11 national championships on the court in the first four? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a lot of fun, right? Like, I think we get that every once in a while, these insane, like, wasn't it in 2021 we had UCLA and Michigan State playing the first four, and then UCLA ended up making the Final Four? Every once in a while, you get these awesome matchups in the first four between these two massive brands. And it's not like they need any help selling out that building in Dayton, but you will absolutely sell out that building in Dayton if you have Carolina and Indiana there.
Yeah, True TV will get the greatest television ratings they have ever gotten. Rob Dauster.
Hey, let's show some respect to Impractical Jokers, okay? That's a great show.
That is, I apologize for the disrespect to Impractical Jokers, which I should remember because I see it. I see the promos incessantly during March Madness. Rob Dauster is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, now Duke without Cooper Flagg. Somebody asked me before, should Carolina get credit for a quad one win? And I'm like, Duke's got two other lottery picks on the court. Of course, they'd be a top 25 team without Cooper Flagg. So obviously they change. But did they change that much? Because it really looks like John Shire just put Con Knippel in the number 2 jersey and basically ran their offense through him.
Yeah, look, Con is my hottest take about what's going to happen with Cooper Flagg out is in these next 2 games, Con Knippel is going to prove to people why he's projected as like a lottery pick, right? He's so big, he's so strong. He's so smart. He's so under control. And I think what we're just going to see is him kind of ball screen you to death with Khan and with Khan Malawach and kind of the way that they play together. I think we're going to see the best of Khan Knippel here. And to be frank, even without Cooper Flagg, I just think that the size and length and athleticism is just going to be too much from Duke today. The big question is going to be, how motivated are they, right? Like,
right.
What does an ACC tournament championship mean to Duke? Because if you're not playing with your best player or a guy that's so important to you defensively, and you're going up against a team that it's literal life and death. Well, not literal life and death, but it's tournament life and tournament death for North Carolina tonight. So I do think that when you're in a rivalry game, that does play a factor. So beating a team 3 times in a season is hard. I think Duke is, an 8.5-point favorite, and rightfully so, even without Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing for Duke is, like, do they actually care about this? Or are they just going out there and saying, look, I don't want what happened to Cooper or Malik to happen to me? Right.
Okay, so here's where I don't know if you agree with this or if you guys have talked about it this way or not. The way I have observed Duke, especially since the loss at Clemson, is that they have taken every single game seriously. And I think they want everything. That's why I thought going into the Smith Center last week, I know everybody thinks Duke doesn't need it, but they did. They played like they needed it. They didn't necessarily play great, but they played hard, and they played a lot of that first half without Cooper Flagg. And the Tarheels were great, especially in the last 6 or 7 minutes of that half, and then Duke just put their foot on the accelerator. I think they want everything. And without Flagg, I think they'll go harder. I really do. So whether they win the game or not, I think Duke will play this game absolutely to win. I think they want everything.
I agree with that too. Like, there's something different about these Duke guys. Like, they're robots, man.
Yeah.
We used to say this. We used to have a joke about Villanova players when they were kind of at the peak of their powers. How there's like it's almost like they have no personality, right? They're these cyborgs that are specifically programmed to go out there and win basketball games, and that's the only thing that matters is them winning basketball games. And I feel like that's what this Duke team is. You know, does Khan Knippel have any hobbies? Do you think he has any? Do you think he does? Like, do you think when he goes home, he's like, I'm going to go throw on Netflix, or he goes home and he's like, I'm going to go grind some film of my last practice to make sure that I got the understanding of this defensive rotation better. So I tend to agree with you. I think that this ends up, to me, coming to this tournament was kind of always going to be a Duke coronation, and if they're able to win it and beat Carolina and to beat either Louisville or Clemson without Cooper Flagg, it is the coronation that we expected.
Rob Dauster, Field of 68, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Just a few more minutes, then we'll let you go. Obviously, Duke's number 1 seed is not in question here. Even it would be an excuse, really, that the committee would, whether or not Duke would use it. I don't think they would, but the committee could use it and give Duke a number 1 seed, even if they were to lose today to UNC. But the rest of the league, like Carolina, could get in, and I think it's a very small chance, maybe a 10% chance that they get in without a win over Duke. But I think they could get in. To me, they're the only other team that would even warrant even a consideration. This is historically the worst I've ever seen this league. And they've had 3 out of when it was 9. They've had 3 of 9 get in before. But this is 3 of 17. I can't believe 3 of 18. I can't believe what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, we just released our latest bracket now, and I'm looking at it, and we have North Carolina in the field today as the last team in, playing Xavier in the first 4, with San Diego State and Indiana as the other teams in the first 4. But you are right, and I think part of it is that it was inevitable that there was eventually going to be a little bit of turnover here because Tony Bennett was not acclimating to what college basketball is going to be moving forward, right? And Jim Larinaga looked like he was kind of on the way out, and Larry Hamilton was on the way out, and Jake Boeheim. You had a lot of guys that were legends of the game that were also much older than a lot of the young guys that are currently making it work right now in the portal. So I think that a little bit of turnover was going to be inevitable, and I think some of this is cyclical. But the other problem is that now you've kind of gotten yourself behind the eight ball a little bit, and you got to go catch up against Big Ten and SEC programs that have a ton of money to fund basketball. You got to go against someone like, let's just take VCU for an example, right? Because Ryan Odom's been connected with like seemingly every single open job that exists planet Earth. And there's a real chance that VCU has comparable, if not more, NIL available to them than Virginia does this year, because they don't have to worry about football. And they've got a huge fan base, and they care about nothing other than basketball. I think it's one of the largest schools. Like, I think there's like something like 42,000 undergrads there because it's a commuter school. And everybody in the city of Richmond loves VCU, and that's all they care about is hoops. So if you're Ryan Odom and you can get more money at VCU and you know that you're going to be one of the best programs there, and you're looking at going to a league where the fourth place team is on the bubble versus the A-10 where the third place team is on the bubble, then why wouldn't you want to be at the best job in your conference instead of having to deal with Duke and eventually North Carolina and Pat Kelsey and Louisville and Brad Rennell apparently getting Clemson going again? Like, there's a very real argument for Ryan Odom that VCU is a better basketball job in 2025 than Virginia is. And that's kind of what you're going to run up against. If you're not going to spend, it doesn't matter if you can recruit. I said this the other day. It doesn't matter how good of a recruiter you are, how good of an evaluator you are, if you can identify who really good players are. If you don't have the money to pay them, none of that matters. Right? The recruiting right now is, okay, what's your offer? All right, well, if you add $100,000 to it, then you know what, you might be able to get us because we got this coming from this program.
Right.
There are schools right now, like these negotiations have been going on for a month. You've got to have the money available to spend. And if you don't have the resources, and I'm not talking about coach's salary, I am talking about NIL spending and budget and rev share. If you don't have that, you don't have a chance because the SEC is just going to funnel money to basketball because they are good at it now. And the Big Ten cares about basketball as much as anybody, and those programs have so much money to spend. That is where you're going to run into trouble, is that you went through this little cyclical change, but it happened at a time when there was a drastic change in how college basketball operates.
All right, let me ask you one more question, and then we'll let you go, Rob Dauster, Field of 68, because I watched the clip of Will Wade on with Jeff Goodman yesterday. At least one of those gentlemen was good looking. Your thoughts on State's chance to land Will Wade?
Well, first of all, I love I know that was a subtle dig at Goodman. I love the subtle dig at Goodman because there's nothing better than subtle digs at Jeff Goodman.
It wasn't very subtle, to be honest, but that's fine.
I'm not really. Yeah, it wasn't at all. It was just straight up taking a shot at them, which is even better. The thing with NC State and Will Wade, like it's not. I feel like we all kind of know what the situation is, right? If Will Wade goes to NC State, in my mind, he is the perfect hire because NC State is kind of that underdog. He's kind of an underdog. He's going to be more than happy to metaphorically and maybe literally give the finger to the other rivals that are within his state. He's going to love nothing more than beating them and rubbing their faces in it. And the dude could coach ball. He gets players and he gets talent, and he finds a way to make talent win basketball games. And I think he operates a little bit better at a program that is kind of on the margins than maybe at a blue blood, just because of I got to know him a little bit. We had him in our event in South Dakota, and Will Wade is he does not give a F. You thought I was going to curse.
That's fine.
But he doesn't. He doesn't care at all. And I think that he would fit really well there, and I think the fan base would embrace him. But it is something where an athletic director that has come up in the world of the NCAA where there's certain rules, and you have a guy that did not follow those rules very clearly, I understand how it can be a little bit difficult to bring him on in a moment like that. So that's a long-winded way of saying I understand why there is hesitation from the administration side. I also understand why the money people are sitting here saying, you know what, we want that guy because we want to win. And I'll put a ball on it with this. If you are NC State and you really want to get out there and win at the level that you want to win, put together a package where you'll be able to provide the resources that you need to be able to make Will Wade not say no. You don't let him say no. That's what I would do if I was the North Carolina State AD, if I was Boo Corrigan, if I was in his shoes. I would find a way to make it work where Will Wade has to say yes to the strong-ass offer that I put on the table.
Fantastic. Way to work that in. Rob, thank you so much for the time. At Rob Dauster on Twitter, Field of 68 every night. They're all over the place. My gosh, I don't know how many videos you guys do a day, but live pods and video, just tons of stuff. I appreciate your time. Best to you and even Jeff.
Always a pleasure, man. And no, don't say no nice things about Jeff on this program.
Good point. Very good point. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.